Welcome to Advertising Champions, your go-to destination for insights into the dynamic world of advertising. I'm Tony Stanol, and with us today is Adam Durfee, who is with BCC. Welcome, Adam.
Hey, thanks, Tony, for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Now, you were telling me that BCC is kind of a mini holding company. You guys are an independent, but why don't you tell us what BCC stands for and is?
Yeah, so BCC stands for Bonneville Communications Corporation. We are a full-service media company that works in creative advertising, public relations, content marketing, all the spaces that your agencies typically work in. We have each of those disciplines broken out into their own divisions. So we have a PR agency based out in New York, a creative advertising practice based here in Salt Lake City, a content marketing agency based out in the East Coast. And so we technically are a small holding company that way, but in reality are one big company who uniquely only takes clients who are in the nonprofit space and dedicated to making the world a little bit better, which makes us really unique in the agency space.
It really is. I see from a talent standpoint, a lot of people very interested in doing better, making impact in today's world, and so that's a great place to be. And you have an observation, we'll say. I know performance marketing has been on the tip of everyone's tongue over the past few years. I've placed people in performance marketing roles, specifically to bring that skill set into the agency on behalf of clients. But you're seeing kind of something happen with that phenomenon. Why don't you talk about that? I thought that was very interesting.
Yeah. So first of all, Tony, I have to confess, I was part of this early 2010s performance marketing evangelism, where I would tell clients, put all of your money into Google and Facebook and these places where we can track everything. There's no point in putting money anywhere else in advertising because that money disappears. But if you put it in these digital spaces, we can track every dollar and tell you exactly where those dollars went and what they did. And that was a big movement. We all saw it. People who watch the show probably are well familiar with that. And I feel like I've spent the last 4 or 5 years in penance for that. Because as data privacy laws have changed and as technology rules have changed and as consumer behavior has changed, I think we've found that pure performance marketing pitch from all those years ago is no longer nearly as relevant. In fact, in most of my day-to-day advertising now, we're back to, old advertising. We're back to amazing creative placed to great audiences. And it turns out we can be effective across a myriad of different channels. But we have to now retrain clients that we untrained all these years ago to start thinking about awareness again, to start thinking about impactful messaging, and to think less about tracking every single stage of a funnel that arguably is becoming a little less trackable each time, or it omits platforms that are hard to track that could be really effective.
Mm-hmm. It's a fascinating topic to me because before performance marketing became, the thing and digital ads were able to be read, I worked on the Oreos account a number of years ago, and we'd do a commercial, and sales would go up, and we'd go, "Oh yes, it was the commercial."
Good for us.
Yeah. But we really didn't know, and then it became much more trackable. And now you're saying the introduction more of creativity into the mix is really strikes a better balance.
Yeah, so we're looking at, one of our clients, as I said, we work exclusively in nonprofit and for good causes. We were working in suicide prevention, and we were looking at all the different ad platforms that we could put in. And we realized that inventory in transit, for example, was incredibly inexpensive and couldn't believe it, and realized that people were straying away from that because they didn't know how to track every dollar. Did people see it? Did they act on it? If there wasn't a QR code or a trackable link, we don't know what happened here. And we realized that we could get an extraordinary amount of inventory to do a lot of good in people's lives for way less than we would have expected to pay, simply because we have people now more afraid of that, where we realized great creative in a great location to people who are sitting there with time on their hands, we could start to make an impact in a space we wanted to make an impact in.
That's a great example. We have a couple of seconds left. Adam, do you have any other examples or work that you're particularly proud of?
Yeah, let's just finish with this thought. We've got tons of work. We work with wildfire preventions, and we work with cybersecurity and things like that. But ultimately, I like to think of yourself as a consumer, and where do you see and remember the most ads? We start thinking about podcasts and billboards and transit, and these ads that we see and we remember, whereas we get exceptionally good about scrolling past the ads at the top of Google, or we scroll past the ads we see on social media because we're excellent at that. And so I just like to let people know that as you start to think about this, think about the ads that are impactful to us, and remember, we're consumers too.
That's right. Okay, think like a consumer, in other words. Well, Adam, thanks for sharing those insights. Very, very innovative, like your title, as Senior Director of Innovation.
Thanks, Tony.
And thank you for joining us on this episode of Advertising Champions. You could find more about us at dailynewsnetwork.com. And we'll see you next time.
We've been around for 16 years, working with clients, with thousands of clients. We're working with agencies to be able to scale them and grow them and provide them services that would cost them way more than it would for them to do it themselves. Anything oriented around lead generation, video creation, web design, we're full service, so we can really serve most people.